Oh man, how does Paul do this? Hey everybody, welcome to hello everybody, welcome to the Thursday show. Unfortunately, the wonderful TPM is not here, and in lieu of him, you get me, the wonderful Dustin Henshaw, to my left. Right, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, over there.
Oh, there. Hey, how's it going?
And there's a still of Angela Lansbury, who's sitting in for the wonderful Pajama Pants. Hello, my brother. Really good. We got a couple of lovely GTs on this weekend. One being done by the incomparable Goonhammer. They're running their, I think this might be the first event that they've done that I've noticed, but this is the US Open GT. We're also covering the Summer Waaagh over in lovely England. And it seems like we're doing a British event, a UK event, and an American event just about every week at the moment, or if not a European event, which shows that we've got a bit of hype going, bit of things going in, and a churning community again. We've also got Fugo. I know. We've also got Fugo to wrap this one up, of course. And yeah, we're going to be touching in on the events coming up this weekend, telling you what to be excited about, what to pay attention to, and some of the meta-shaping armies in attendance. Dustin, how you doing, brother? What's new for you?
I'm doing great right now. I'm just getting all my stuff ready. I'm starting to go to RTTs and get my GSC Tyranids all over the boards, all over tournaments. I am so excited that tournament season is finally picking up around here again too, and I can play. Still with masks, but hey, I'll take what I can get. In-person games I'm loving life right now.
Yeah, it feels like August was like half of August was just getting started. September should be a bumper year. It's going to be interesting to see how this show evolves now that we actually have a fully fledged, like hearty meta, competitive meta to sink our teeth into. But let's jump over and talk about this first event, guys. This is the Goonhammer US Open GT. 49 players from lovely Rockville, Maryland. The quick and dirty stats here. We have 4 Admech, 3 Drakari, 5 Sisters, 1 Orc, 2 Grey Knights, 0 T-Suns, even though they're both in effect, 4 Nids, 3 Custodes, 5 Necrons, 1 Mixed Chaos, 0 Tau, Donut for the Tau, for the Tuna Fish, 4 Death Guard, 2 Guard, 2 Knights, 1 of each, 1 Adari, 0 Harlequins as well, Donut for the Harleys, and 10 total Marines. So that's 10 total Marines in a 50-player event, give or take. 3 Dark Angels, 2 Space Wolves, 2 Blood Angels, 1 Sallies, 1 Death Watch, 1 Ultras. Dustin, what are your thoughts, brother?
I'm very excited to see 4 Nids on the field right there. I'm also sad that there's no Thousand Suns with the new book out there. I think they're really good. I guess I can't say I'm surprised, because I think I said it the last time I was on too. Thousand Suns are a very strong army, but they're so complicated. You need to start bringing those the psychic powers on specific models in your army and practice that list over and over, just so you get used to what powers you have on the field, because you have so many options. It's not too surprising that people don't want to bring it to a big event yet, just because they feel like maybe they can't play it fast enough, because it's just a lot to go through. And I'm also sad there's only 1 Orc player. Like, what the hell, guys?
Yeah. I can tell you right now, I don't think the Orc Codex was in effect. I looked at that gentleman's list; it didn't look like a new Orc list to me. So yeah, is what it is. Now that is it's so interesting. Yeah, we feel like Orcs came out almost 3 to 4 weeks before, but then they've only really kicked in. They're going to only really kick in kind of start mid-September of the month coming up, before we see the actual density, and they're actually available at every single event. It is weird, yeah. 0 T-Suns, also 0 Tau and 0 Harlequins. So
0 Tau doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. The 0 Harlequins does surprise me. Only 1 Eldari. So essentially, there's only 4 of the entire knife-eared conglomerate super faction. There's only 4 players. That's a well underrepresentation for me, especially Drakari. Only 3 Drakari. But yeah, and saying that, like, because that's 2 sides of the coin. You think if there was light terrain, Tau would have more of a presence. If you think it was really dense terrain, Drakari and Harlequins just feel like no-brainers. Yeah, for the players who are invested in those. So seeing 0 of both seems a bit of a head scratcher. We're going to jump in. We'll transition to talking about some of the top players in attendance. We've got 2 of our top 20 attending this event, the top 20 of that region. And just to break down for you guys what happens there. So literally, I go through, or somebody in the back end goes through the roster of players in attendance, and Control F's the top 20 of that region to see if any of them are there. James Killing is the top player in attendance currently in the ITC rankings for the United States. He's sitting in our 8th seed. He's playing Drakari. Just a quick anecdotal breakdown of his list: double Chronos Dark Technoblobs, so 2 3-mans, 3 Incubi, a unit of Trueborn, 3 units of Incubi, sorry, a unit of Trueborn, and all the Killy characters. Like, he's got all 4, like two Killy Suckies, the Killy Archon, and Drazar in there. I'll hit it over to Dustin first. Are Drakari just becoming very same, very plottable? Is it becoming a very kind of maybe even a stale meta list?
I feel like there's a lot of the things you're going to want to take in most of your Drakkar lists. You're going to want to take Trueborn. You just have to. I think we're seeing a lot more Chronos and Talos lists actually start to fill in the meta. I see a lot of like triple Chronos units flying on the board because they still put on a lot of damage. They're pretty durable, but all in all, because they're so transport heavy and they're so good that way, it's hard to get away from that formula for the Drukhari. It's been successful, right? So why would you want to break something that's not broken? There are still some things in there you can bring. Like, you still see some people bring Hellions. You'll see some Reavers dabbled in every so often, but for the most part, it's witches, Cabalites in transports with maybe some racks. Sometimes, of course, the killy characters they have as well. They have such a good formula as it is. You'll see maybe the 500-point variation between some lists of some people might want to try something and see if it works and if it does really well in the current meta, because they still have some tools that they haven't used just because they haven't needed to yet because of where the meta is, right? You might start to see the Helm of Spite being taken a lot more because of all the psychic that's going to start to come into the field. So they still have the tools, but I think it's not stale, but it's pretty set in at least the first 1,500 points. Yeah,
it's close. It's close to solved as well as how I'm feeling about it. So the next gentleman, the next top player in attendance is Anthony Vanella. He's the 10th place. So we've got the 8th and 10th placed seed players in the US attending this event. He's also playing Drukhari. Shock, everybody, hold on to your butts. Guess where it starts off? Starts off with 2 more bricks of double Chronos, Dark Techno Chronoses. So that's 6 of them. Nice. Then he's got Blood Brides, Hellions, Trueborn, Incubi, Quarter the Archon, and another swathe of killer characters. PJ, we've got confirmation that we can hear you in the chat now. So give us your hot takes. Where's Drukhari at as a meta army? Have they been solved? Is it the same kind of 1,200 points for everybody now?
No, I don't think so. I think there's still a lot of flexibility with the list, and I think the fact that Cronoses didn't get the massive nerf in the update just means more people are going to take them. You're going to see them more often. They still hit as hard as people remember. They feel like they didn't get nerfed when other things got nerfed, which kind of makes them feel like they got better. And then their resilience and their just the ability to stay on the board is really what I think is the final straw in taking them. It's those are the big things.
When you say resilience, they're not resilience as in on a profile. They're resilience by dint of jank and hide ability.
Exactly.
Yeah. Break that down, people. Why is that a big deal in 9th edition? Being able to where you can just take durability out of the situation, just be untargetable.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing because you could take up board space by doing that. You're taking up real estate on the map, right? And you're going to put yourself in a position to maximize your return with the unit. And that's really what you're trying to do with every single unit. You're trying to trade up. And the fact that they can do that in a number of different ways that ensures that they get back essentially what you paid for them, if not more, really makes them still a very, 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 appealing thing to take in a Dark Elder list. So I'm planning on seeing those a lot. I plan on seeing several units, or maybe I would go with more of a min approach, but I wouldn't be shocked to see those quite a bit.
Yeah, totally agree there. Last thing, we got a list for review. I picked this list because it's a guard list, and I was picking the list today, so I picked this one. This is Mr. Scott Horace, or Horace, I don't know which. He's playing guard, and the breakdown comes as such. He starts off with a battalion. This is of disciplined shooters and gunnery experts, so it's a custom doctrine regiment. He's got 1, 2, 3 tank commanders, each one with a demolisher, and that's it. Just a demolisher, heavy bolter in the hull. So essentially min-maxed to all min-maxedness. 3 units of guard, a platoon commander with 2 manticores, both with full payload. Yeah, he's got a patrol. This one is of Land and Lions. Starts off with Inquisitor Kodiaz, which is a big deal. He's been bought a Waller trade as well. Then he's got a Primaris Psyker, a Tempest Prime, 1, 2, 3 5-mans with nothing on them, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Taurox Primes with twin Gatlings and 2 hotshot volley guns. I'm going to put it out there. I love this list, but man, it is a weird thing to see in this day and age. Hit it over to Dustin first. You play GSE, so you're probably pretty familiar with Brood Brothers. What's your take?
Well, see, I actually love the Tauroxes because I run a lot of Goliaths with neophytes in them, so I love that style, and I can tell you right off the bat, like that is very effective in 9th edition right now. Just having a lot of transports filled in with some guys that can do some shooting, but they're mainly there for OBSEC, and they're protected by the armor, so it's a lot harder to prioritize something. You have to pop the transport itself and then kill the guys inside to even get a value out of it. And if you pop the transport in the wrong spot, they're going to go over and take an objective, right? So it's a very effective way to run your OBSEC, and I love that. The tank commanders with the Demolisher siege cannons, I think that's the go-to now, just because they do so much damage and there's a lot of big things on there that I think the tank commanders become their big thing gun, right? So, and the Manticores they're Manticores. So I actually like this list. It makes a lot of sense to me. The full payload of the Manticores is what makes them juicy. So they do the full 3 damage with all their shots.
Is this PJ? Is this about as good as it gets for like mono guard at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a couple other builds that could work as efficient as this. So when you say is it good as it gets, I wouldn't really consider this to be the best Imperial Guard list. I'd say it's a really good approach, though. I think disciplinary shooters is good with the rapid fire, but then the gunnery experts is really solid on those tank commanders where he gets to re-roll the number of shots. So I like that. I think Torox primes are super underrated. With 9th edition being able to shoot in close combat now, that was really the way that you would stop this army in previous editions, was to just touch the Toroxes, and then you just kind of laugh. But now, when you can shoot them in close combat, I feel like they got like a pretty significant buff, and those hotshot volley guns are also really good when they do hit. So I kind of like the Toroxes. I think those and the Scions, I would see those in a lot of the competitive approaches to IG right now, but I don't think it's the only approach.
Yeah, fair. And to break down the Torx Prime, it's kind of elevated by its profile. So the Gatlic, firstly, Landom Lions gives you an increased rend on every gun. I don't know why people don't lose their minds over this one, because you only have like three. You only have like 3 damn things in the book. You have command squads, regular squads, and the Torx Primes. And apart from that, that's it. But they're amazing. So the Torx Gatling Cannon is 20 shots at strength 4 that all of a sudden gets a rend, and then you got these 2 hotshot volley guns that are strength 4 -2 that go to -3. And I want to tell you, there's a lot of things out there that ignore rend 1 and rend 2. So that -3 breakpoint is a huge deal, especially into things like AdMech. I want to put it out there. Torox Primes are not a bad AdMech solution if you can take them en masse, because you can dodge the brick that's got all the buffs on it, and then the one that has all the buffs on it cops the demolishers, cops the manticores and things, where it doesn't matter as much. But yeah, the only thing I really dislike about this list is the fact that it can't punch its way out of paper bag. Is that a huge deal?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's such a big deal in the current edition to be able to have the ability to reach out into your opponent's zone and deny them a tool, and not just have them reach out from their zone to deny you tools. And it's such a big deal in the interactions of the game that I feel like the fact that a mono guard army can't really do that. You can take expensive Bullgren that don't really do it either. They can't go and kill Blade Guard. They can't go and kill Vanguard Vets, especially, let alone like kill a Raider and then the contents. But is that enough to keep these guys off top tables like permanently, or is there a meta shift in the future that could give Guard the legs again?
As you said before, I'm a GSC player. I need that punch in there, because I need to be able to make open up my guys, or make that trade across the table with a charging unit. I need that close combat. I think it's something that all armies are going to start needing, because all the top armies have it. Thousand Suns have it. GK have it. Drukhari have it, obviously. Even AdMech has it. Every top army they're going to come against, they have these punches. If you don't have a way to deal with that, and if they start wrapping multiple units and they start keeping you in there, so you can't use all your guns against the units you need to use your guns against, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So while this list, it has all the tools, it can shoot its way out of anything except close combat.
Well, so a lot of people, I'll put this analogy to PJ because I think he likes them. A lot of people are calling Guard Tau without greater good. I mean, they're cheaper point for point, but they don't have marker lights to buff up your output. But the fact is, they don't have the deterrent of an army-wide Overwatch to stop you from just running out, tapping everything, wrapping everything, and just mulching your way through stuff. You reckon that's accurate, PJ?
Do we still have him? I don't think we have him. We lost him. All right, never mind. Okay, never mind. I will answer that for you, Adam, because I will do that for you. But I actually. It's funny, because I think that's why the Torox Primes are actually good in this style of list, because they're the things that can start blocking your opponent, keeping them from coming in, so you can try to prevent them from getting to the juicy parts of your army. This is why any kind of transport filled with like 10 bodies is very helpful in an all shooty list, because you need to start zoning out your opponent, blocking them from getting to your juicy parts.
Yeah, fair. Well, that pretty much wraps up the Goonhammer US Open. You got Dustin, give us a hot take. Who do you think's winning? What do you predict our podium's going to look like at the end of this one?
Well, I have to say that I'm going to see Drukhari up there. I have to,
right?
Yeah. It's between James and Anthony. Sisters are good. They could do it too, for sure.
Yeah, so you think we're going to see Drakari? Alan just in our ear said we're going to see sisters on the podium. Do you think it's just going to be the three big dogs? It's just going to be Admech, Drakari, sisters, and just whatever combination that comes in?
Well, it depends on what kind of AdMech we have there too, because the AdMech can beat a lot of these armies, but I feel like Drakari, especially the two Drakari players that are there, are going to be topping a lot of the tables. They're going to be hard to beat, and they have good armies.
Exactly. Keeping one of them off the podium is going to be inconceivable, right? It's almost like out of the realm of possibility. So we're going to see Drakari, but yeah, under that, actually a little bit up for grabs. I'd love to see a Grey Knight player make it. I'd love to see. There's three Crustode players there, so one of them could easily crush it. And there's still the usual swathe of different Marine armies. But yeah,
of course,
very underrepresented Chaos and very underrepresented Eldari. Like only 4 Eldari players total, and 1 mixed Chaos, 4 Death Guard, 0 T-Suns. Like 5 Chaos total, 4 Drakari or Eldari total. That's incredible.
That's a weird mix. Not really. I guess that's just the meta in that area. There's 5 Necrons. Like there's more Necrons than everything else.
Yeah, exactly right. But anyway, we will move on. The Summerwa is the second GT we're going to be covering this week. It is a 60-player GT from Horwich, England. It is near Manchester, right here. With here, it's outside Manchester somewhere. Quick and dirty stats here: 6 Admech, 10% Admech, 3 Drakari, 3 Orcs, 3 Sisters, 1 Grey Knights, 2 T-Suns, 3 Tyranids, 2 Crustodes, 2 Necrons, 2 Demons, 1 Chaos Space Marines, 2 Mixed Chaos, 7 Death Guard. Lovely 7. 2 Guard, 0 Knights. Donut for the Imperial Knights, both Imperium and Renegade. 2 Mixed Eldari, 2 Tau, 13 Total Marines, totaling 2 Dark Angels, 1 Space Wolves, 2 Ultras. I wish TPM was here. 6 Blood Angels, and 2 Iron Hands.
Woo!
Dustin, what do you make of these stats? It's a bit to unpack here.
Why are there so many Death Guard everywhere still? Like they're huge. There's 7 here. There was 4 in the last one, right? Like they're
well. So the 4 in the last one's actually a drop off. I usually expect somewhere between 5 and 7.
Low barrier of entry.
Alan's if you can't hear Alan, he's chimed in saying it's a low barrier to entry army, as in you can get it on the board. It's 10 Terminators is like and a couple of support characters is half your army. Add in 3 PBC. Sorry, Alan's back with us, I think.
Yeah, no, it's easy. It's also easier to play too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be very short in case people can't hear me.
That's one of the reasons I thought that we see more Grey Knights everywhere, because I thought they were really low barrier to entry and they are pretty easy to pick up and play. Not like I'm not saying they're an easy army, because they still have a lot of tricks and a lot of things you got to learn with them. But they're one of those easy entries because if you own Grey Knights, you own Grey Knights. Like you have everything, so you can play the army, and you'll still be able to do well.
We should see those pick up quite a bit, because a lot of people from 5th edition still have all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
now, they're not going to be using Rifleman Dreads, but they'll probably be using some of their faster stuff. And Dread Knights are very good, so there's a good chance you'll see the Grey Knights start ticking up quick. They just got to finish that last little bit of the army.
Mm-hmm.
Spot on. And it's also a bit of a paradigm shift. People playing 5th or 4th or 5th, even halfway through 6th, probably have everything they need. People who pick them up in 7th, 8th and 9th probably have all the termies, but don't have a huge density of the power armor, which I think is where the power is now. It's in the power armor and the Dread Knights, and whatever combination of those suits you, because I think there's a lot of discovery to be had within that faction still. But 6 Admech guys, double Drakari, double Orcs, double Sisters. Like, that is fearsome. That is a fearsome concept for people walking into this event being like, if I'm winning this, likely it's through like 2, maybe even 3 Admech players if I'm super unlucky.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many of these Admech players actually have like the 80 Vanguard Rangers, though. That's what I feel like that's not that big of the field. Like that's what you want to bring, but how many people actually manage to do that and actually still bring it right now?
I don't know if that's really the toughest list now anymore. And I know I don't know. I think it's more. It's probably more like a little bit of an MSU approach to it. I think poured by units, but one big block of 20 that you throw all the buffs on, you keep it alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 brick of Rangers that literally by itself holds down your entire backfield with support from some chickens, and then it's Raiders and Taraxi and whatever combination of Sicarian makes you rise to the occasion, because there's just no bad amounts to take of them. Take 6 units, take 3 units of each of them, and you're just going to have a crazy good time. I looked through a lot of those lists, and it was an interesting switch between those two paradigms. Those two things are almost becoming the two ways to go. There's the Horde and there's the MSU, and hell, that's a Taylor 9th edition, isn't it?
Mhm.
Whereas the Horde survives at the conception of a faction and drops off over time, and we've seen that happen with a couple of different things. We had Horde by Horde by wound being represented quite heavily with Marines and definitely with Necrons at the start of this edition, and then as we've gone on, hell, we've had Horde by Wound is almost becoming a thing for Drakari if they fully pivot into like getting the Grotesques out, getting some Talos to go along with the Chronos. But with this one, we're seeing that people. I'm not going to say that people have figured out how to beat that Horde, that Skitarii Horde, because they haven't. But I will tell you, I think enough people have played that, gotten bored with it, and are moving on to the more exciting option.
Okay, I could see that too. I'm a Horde player, so I never get bored of playing Hordes. I'm struggling a little bit with signing my MSU style right now, but it actually works really well. So I've been doing it a lot, and so I can see how people could get bored of it. Though I do like the MSU better, and I feel that Alan's actually right. Like when you're talking about AdMech, it should be moving a little bit more to the MSU because they have some really good units, like really good units. But you still want at least one, maybe two blocks, right? Because it's so good to just solar flare it where you need it to be and sit there on objectives.
Exactly right. And on top of that, like the Horde way of playing the game, I think people have figured out that, well, and especially people who haven't crushed the top table yet with AdMech, they'll be sitting there being like, well, the Horde's not doing it for me, so I've got to switch. I've got to be malleable. I've got to go to the next way to play this game, and that is MSU. That has been the strongest way that everybody has found their ways to the podiums. AdMech's no different. Alan, what's your hot take?
No, I think that the best thing anyone has ever said in this podcast is that 9th edition is essentially a Horde approach of units. That was you, Adam. So I mean, that's probably the best. That's the best take of the current edition. So I think anyone not playing that way right now is playing wrong, regardless of what army you're playing.
Fair, yeah, fair, dude. If you want to get to the top level, if you want to win an event, MSU's the Horde by unit is the way to do it. Talking about some more breakdown of stats here, 0 Knights, not a big deal. Actually, I think of the last couple of weeks, it's the UK events that have had the least amount of Knights. They're having the Knights with the donuts. That's not a huge surprise for me. A huge representation of Blood Angels I want to talk about as well. This is the first time I think we've seen Blood Angels be the most numerous of the factions, Space Marine factions present. 13 total Marines, and half of them, 6 out of 13 are Blood Angels. Any reasons for that, you think, PJ?
I mean, it could just be that area, you know. I mean, Blood Angels are one of those armies. I've said this in the past. You know, they have probably some of the most loyal fans, and I think, you know, if they're bringing, I don't think there's been any changes in the meta to suggest that Blood Angels are any better than they were 3 months ago or 6 months ago. I think they've only been getting more and more of a hit for every codex that's coming out. I would say Oryx was a hit to them. Dark Eldar was definitely one. AdMech was also one. So I don't necessarily think anything has changed to make them any better. I just think that this particular area probably has a high density of loyal Blood Angels players, and they're probably going to do good. I don't think any of them are going to win, but you know, you could see some in the final rounds. Definitely going undefeated until the last round. It's possible.
So there's one thing I think that they do that makes them unique in Space Marines and makes them be able to do a thing Space Marines can't do otherwise. So to my mind, the best Space Marine unit right now is a Vanguard Veteran. I don't think there's much real consternation about that. They're one of the only units that you can sling across the board. They have high durability, high explosiveness, and you can buff them to absolute ridiculous degrees, especially for armies like Blood Angels, like White Scars. What Blood Angels can do, they can take, rather than having 3 Vanguard Veteran squads, they can have 6 Vanguard Veteran equivalent squads. E.g., 3 Vanguard Veteran squads and then 3 either Death Company or a Sangard squads. And so you can have 6 of those. So you get to actually be a Space Marine army that plays a trade war and that can actually force one on your opponent if you're in sight. Because that's the thing that's why I think Sisters is the better Marine army. It's just a better Marine army because they have a dense of every kind of shooting unit. They have a density of every kind of melee unit as well, across a bunch of different profiles. And I think that is what makes Blood Angels similar to them. They don't have the janky dominions or the auto charges from reserve or the craziness you can do with retributors. But if you just want to look at, hey, if I need to get into a melee trade war, Blood Angels is probably my best option because I can have that one scouting up unit at Death Company. I can have 3 units of Sangard. 3 units is just 4 Sangard, which I can tell you right now is a great way to play them, because 4 Sangard kills so many things in the current game. You'll always have a target for him in an MSU meta. And then 3 units of Sangard that can be broken into 6 units of Sangard. Vanguard veterans that can break into 6 units of Vanguard veterans, and so they can really do the MSU melee, I think, better than everybody else, because they have those density of options in that slot, in that fast, semi-durable, explosive slot.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you actually said that too, because you hit the nail on the head when you're saying bring units of 4 Sangard guys like that. They are so valuable at that, because they're almost not even worth shooting, because there's so many things you got to kill, but they're so worth shooting because they kill so much. They are so devastating in close combat. It is actually scary. And the Blood Angels, like you said, they have the ability to have so many of these little MSU units that are going to be running at your face that will be able to kill stuff. It's really efficient in the trade war, and that's something that actually Blood Angels, you're right, they're very good at that. So I can see that. And I think, like PJ said, it's a huge loyalist group.
Yeah, that's probably absolutely right. PJ.
I think a lot of people got a little bit turned off with Blood Angels because of some of the changes they have with the Smash Captain being able to move around, and some of the easier ways to charge, guaranteeing a charge on 3d6, stuff like that. I mean, without that, yes, you are right. You can take a bunch of essential Vanguard vets and you can run them at your opponent, and you can do some crazy shenanigans. But I would argue that they still, even with that, die fairly easy. And because they die fairly easy, even if they do all make the mark, and you name these other armies, Dark Eldar, Oryx, Sisters, they're still not trading up, because even their small little unit is still as expensive or more expensive than whatever they're most likely killing, because your opponents are also going with that min-max strategy. Now, if you run into somebody with a 350 point unit of something, then yeah, of course, they're going to do some damage, some serious damage. But I think what we're talking, like the people we're talking to who are trying to get ready for tournaments or get more information about how these things are actually won or who's going to win and how, if you're not min-maxing, then you're not doing it right. And if you are, you're most likely not going to lose to that Blood Angel approach. You're going to have a really tactical game, I think.
Well, you're absolutely right. Like this is as close as they can get. I think Blood Angels is as close as Marines can get to playing that style of game. It's a pretty hard skew. Like you're dropping. Maybe you have a unit of Eradicators. Maybe you have a Whirlwind as tech pieces and there's anti-armor pieces, and that's it. Everything else is literally speed and melee punch. And it really struggles into a lot of fights last. It really struggles into a lot of things that can do the opposite to you. So think about the story of 9th edition. Space Marine Codex comes out. People tout Blood Angels as the second or third best Marine option after White Scars, after Salamanders. And then they stay about there until Death Guard.
In the real beginning, weren't Iron Hands still on top, or am I thinking 8th now? No, I'm thinking 8th. Yeah. I'm thinking 8th. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then we get into 9th edition, and what happens? A Dark Angels book comes out, which trumps them entirely. They're +1 to wound, all that stuff, irrelevant, throw it out the window because of perma transhuman. And then we have a Death Guard book that comes out, that all the buffs that they got to all their weapons, all those Carmine axes and all that crap, throw it out the window, forget about it, -1 damage, we don't care. You're going to have to go through us the hard way. On top of that, both of those things also have a prevalence of fights last. They also have places to apply OBSEC and denial of OBSEC as well. And so all of a sudden, they're two things that Blood Angels just can't go into. And then you have the other dice roll at the end of that. The 3-piece to that combo is Drakari comes out and does everything that you can do ×10, standing on his head, doing math equations. And people I assume it could only be very disillusioning for the Blood Angels players out there.
Yeah, and now you could put 20 Noise Marines in a giant claw pod, and you could just destroy everyone. So I mean, it's a good chronological summary of events. I like it.
Beautiful. All right, jumping down, top players in attendance. Matty Cheem is back at this one. I think he's 14th. He's ranked 14th in the UK right now, as a BCP sits right now. But I think he's actually sitting first because he's gone and either podiumed or won an event for the last 4 weeks. Every single week he's at something and he's either winning it or podiuming. He's first coming up there. So I think he's first in the UK right now. He's playing Orcs again. He's playing his buggies list. So it is a war trike that is 9 scrap jets, some MSU Stormboys, a KFF mech, and 9 squig buggies. That's the whole damn list, boys. What do we think?
I've played this list a few times to test it, and it's good for team events. It is so dirty. It throws so many dice at your opponent. It is ridiculous how many shots this list actually puts out. It is ridiculous. Every single one of those 3-man squads can kill almost anything if it gets lucky. I gotta preface that it has to get a little lucky, but it can kill almost anything. Let's be honest. They have such a huge footprint that if they go first, they will take the board and kill the things that can contest it from you. Almost guaranteed. Obviously, again, they have to get a little lucky. And I know a lot of people look at it as like, oh, they hit on 5s, -1. You could hit on 6s. No, man, it doesn't matter. There's so many shots.
There's just so many shots. This feels
so many shots.
Yeah, this feels like the closest thing we have to a leaf blower. Like it sits back and just blows you off the table. But it does it with orcs, which is really unique. PJ, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen it yet. I would just police movement in this. I feel like he has a parking lot. I don't know where he goes or how he gets out of things. If it's the same list we saw in the past with all those buggies, I mean, those are really big bases and they're very hard to get anywhere. And if you don't go first, I feel like you just auto lose because I just screen you off. I screen you with whatever I need. I have either infiltrators in my army or some tactic that gets units up the board. And I literally just go, oh, there's a ruin wall here and here. Cool. I'll put 5 guys in between them and space them out, and you can't go anywhere now. And look, Matt, as far as the shooting goes, I'll just hide. The rivet cannons are not going to kill much. They're really, I haven't seen them do that much damage in the games I've been playing. Well, if I keep you in your deployment zone for 2 turns, I don't really care how much shooting you have.
But he's got 9 of the damn things though, so chances are he's going to have like just 1 or 2 bumper turns that's just going to smash you. But I agree. Look, on paper, this feels like something that can be solved. Like there's going to be an easy medalist out there that's just going to do really well into this. It hasn't come up yet. Manny's a man who knows what he's doing. I'm assuming he's got plans for all those contingencies. We're gonna take it. We've been talking about some dense meta stuff. And we're going to talk about some fun stuff that we like. Some fun lists from this event that we liked. The first one of these is Nick Davies. This one's the PJ list. PJ has been going on and on about wanting to play a list like this, with one exception. And we're going to tell you about it. So he starts off with a patrol detachment. This one is aligned with Nurgle, has a Demon Prince of Nurgle, has Mammon, the Transfigured, because, why not? A unit of Furies, and then 2 Mark of Nurgle 5-man Fury squad. Sorry, a unit of Nurglings. I missed that. Then he has a patrol attachment, this one of Chaos Undivided, a Great Unclean One, a Lord of Change, another unit of Nurglings. Is he going to do it? He's going to Spearhead Detachment, Undivided, Bloodthirster, Keeper of Secrets, Burning Chariot, Soul Grinder. What a legend!
Nick Davies, they should make a t-shirt for you.
It is.
That was his name, right? Nick Davies?
Nick Davies, yeah. The 4 heads of the Hydra, right there.
Yeah.
No Be'lakor, which would have completed your 5-way, whatever you want to call it. But dude, holy crap, what a list!
I mean, this guy should just be handed a beer when he gets to the event and smack on the ass and just tell him, hey, well done, sir.
We appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
You earned this.
I love everything about that. That is just pure fun. I hope it's all painted good. That'd be cool too.
They're all exalted, by the way. The Lord of Change is the unkillable Lord of Change. He is the Warlord, possible robe, in corporeal form. So I could almost get with this. Like when PJ talks about this being okay, because it kind of pulls you in a lot of different directions, and Be'lakor being the kind of centerpiece that it all kind of swirls around. I think it's fine if you take a bunch of janky weird stuff with it. Or you take just like crap loads of Nurglings, maybe one bloodletter bomb in bits and pieces everywhere. But 2 burning chariots and the soul grinders does not make sense to me.
Well, I feel like he's got plenty of space for that Be'lakor. That's all we're saying. That's it.
That's
saying, hey man, right. Dust off that Be'lakor next time and get this thing, get this show fully rolled.
Well, he's 350, isn't he, Be'lakor?
He is. He's kind of pricey. He's gonna have to drop a lot.
Yeah, you'd have to drop both burning chariots and the soul grinder to get him. But you could. But what is Mammon? Is he the
Mammon's the Nurgle Demon Prince? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Forge Wield one.
Yeah.
Does he do anything spicy?
I don't think he's spicy at all. I think he's really slow, easy to screen, not very good in close combat. I mean, he's kind of like, I don't know, just lame. I'm not really a big fan of that guy, but I like the rest of it. The rest of it, I'm a big fan of.
The model is sick, though, isn't it?
The Mammon model? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's the one where he's just like a giant, like literal pus factory of like Nurgleness.
No, I'm curious.
Yeah, it's the most Nurgly. Oh no, sorry, it's the guy with the vats on his back.
Yeah, he's got vats on his back. Yes, he does.
He's not the guy I was thinking of. That must be the named greater demon. But yeah, like Exalted Grand Clown, Exalted Lord of Change, Exalted Bloodthirster, Exalted Keeper. Like the Exalted Bloodthirster and Exalted Keeper can both be really legit, right, PJ? They can actually be legit.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. I mean, they could be really good depending on how good you roll. They could even be better. So, I mean,
That's fair. That's actually
I mean,
very fair.
He's not wrong.
The
man makes a good point.
I mean,
yeah,
better you roll, the better they get. You know,
It's true. Better you roll. These things are just awesome. If you roll nothing but 5-ups, these things are unkillable, man.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Right. I know, incredible. But legitimately, if you go to this event, the Waaagh 40K, and you play against Nick Davies, you just cheers this guy.
Please buy him a beer.
Every single person's got to buy this guy a beer.
Some legit ball bearings to bring this list, I think. All right, we're gonna move on to our second funny list. This one is even funnier, if that can be a thing. Those who've stayed with us for a long time, who've been listening to this show, cast your mind back to a certain Imperial Fist list that we pulled out. That was literally looked like it stepped out of the realms of 4th edition, like 3rd edition. This is in that vein. Like there's only one disappointing thing about this, and we'll get to it at the end. But this is Justin Reed, and he's playing a brigade of craft worlds. First and foremost, everyone sit down, put your hands on the table. And just bow your head to this legend of the community.
Absolutely.
So he's got custom craft world, Children of Cain, superior shurikens. I've got no idea what those are. I haven't heard of either of those. I think the shurikens is real ones to hit on shuriken weapons, but that's all I know about it because I never heard of it. He starts this off, and you just know he's a baller. You just know he's like, you know what? Avatar of Cain, baby. Just for you, Adam. Just for you and the Thursday night crew. Avatar of Cain, Spirit Seer, Dire Avengers. Why stop there? Dire Avengers, Rangers. 40 Dire Avengers, 2 units of Rangers, a unit of Howling Banshees. Okay, hopefully he's got the new model. Actually, no. Hopefully he doesn't have the new models. Hopefully he's got the first models. The worse they look, the better. Then he's got a unit of Striking Scorpions. Oh, why stop there? 2 units of Striking Scorpions. A unit of Swooping Hawks. 2 units of Swooping Hawks. 3 units of Swooping Hawks. A Falcon, a Fire Prism, and a Wraithier. And that is all she wrote. That is a brigade of craft worlds, guys. And my God, what a man.
You are so excited about this list. I am actually kind of excited about it. I love it. I love seeing the Avatar of Cain on the table. It's such a cool looking model. I hope he has like the Forge World one that's actually the size of a cane that it should be, not the little dinky one. They're both cool looking, but I like the bigger one. It looks cool. There's Dire Avengers everywhere. Howling Banshees. He has everything you could take in there that you want to as a craft world player. So why not make a brigade? Why not? Well, who wants to spend CP on detachments?
How many rounds is this event?
It's a 5-rounder.
What's this guy's record?
What are we calling it?
Yeah, let's call this guy's record.
Oh,
I know it. I'm calling it.
If he wins a game, I'll be really proud of him. Like
I'm gonna actually say he's gonna go 3-2.
I'm saying 2 and 3. 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
I'm going.
I think he's gonna have a winning record. Because this is exactly what we talk about. This is MSU by Horde. This is a lot of units.
It's true.
And I'm pretty sure that that shuriken thing that you were talking about, that you don't even know what it is. I'm pretty sure he substitutes all shuriken weapons for strength 4 -1 damage 2 instead. And it also, I think it also upgrades the claws on the striking scorpions, if I'm not mistaken.
That would be insane if it does.
Yeah, I think it's a damage 2 though, for sure. He gets damage 2. I think that's why he's doing it. And I still think he benefits from 6s or -3 rend.
So, well, we'll actually have to look at that now. Thanks.
Superior
PJ,
shurikens add 4 inches to the range characters of shuriken weapons, and what is the other one? Scorpion's Claw as well. So they also get that too. So it adds 4 inches to the range.
That is 4 inches.
Yeah, the Children of Cain is any wound roll, any unmodified wound rolls of 6 is add 1 to the damage characteristic.
Okay, that's what you're getting.
So they're odd choices, but it's a brigade, so all power to them.
when your cojones are this big, what do you expect? Like, geez.
No, he probably didn't. He might not even ready. Just look like Children of Cain. I have an Avatar of Cain. I have to be Children of Cain. That's part of the fluff here. Maybe he's a fluff player. That's what it is. He's a fluff player.
This man could have completed the entirety of all creation. Could have bowed to this man. Drop 1 unit of Swooping Hawks for a unit of Shining Spears, and drop 1 Fire Prism for a unit of Dark Reapers, and you have all the original OG Aspect Warriors. Yeah, I'm not missing any.
Dark Reapers?
I don't think so. No, I think that would be everything.
That would be them all. And then you play Baal Tan because you're a Chad.
No.
And you're done.
Yeah.
because you're a Chad.
I love this list. It's so funny. It's so fun. I put this list in here and I gave him the least amount of cred. Alan's going for 3 and 2. You're going 2 and 3, aren't you, Dustin? And I said 1 and 4. So shame on me. Justin Reed, prove me wrong. All right.
I think he'll win his first one and then he's gonna get into the rough patch.
No, I think he's gonna lose, and then win.
And just smash across the bottom, just like
that's what I think. That's my call.
We actually have one more list that was posted up here. I'm not sure. I'm just going to get a quick word from Richard whether we got time to do this one as well. Yeah, we're going to chuck up another list for you guys. This one is of orcs, and I think this was pulled out by PJ, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Ooh.
Do we know what this gentleman's name is? Or do you just want to have a quick anecdotal look over this one?
Quick anecdotal look. Pete. I think his name's Pete Walsh.
Beautiful. I will read this one out, guys. Starts with a patrol detachment of Goths, Death Killer Wartrike, brutal but cunning, and he's a big boss. Then he's got 2 units of boys, neither of them truck boys, which is interesting. 10 mans apiece, each with a power claw on the knob. 2 units of 5 commandos, 2 units of Squighog boys. One's a 6-man, one's a 5-man. Or it's a 5-man and a 4-man. I'm not sure if the where this is taken into account in the sergeant's thing. Then he's got an outright attachment. This one is of Bad Moon. Starts off with a big mech in Mega Armor. Then he's got a unit of 2 scrap jets, another unit of 2 scrap jets, and then 2 single squig buggies. And then a unit of 5 war bikers and 2 Dakar jets. To round it out, he took Gaz in this. What a lad. PJ, I'm assuming you pulled this out. Why'd you find this one interesting? What do you want to talk about here?
I just thought it was like the best example at someone just trying to do it all, kind of. Like they're trying to take to take the buggies, they're trying to take gas, they're trying to take a little bit of the other units in there, but I'd love to see how it plays. I'm curious. I felt like when I read it, I was like, how does this even approach? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, well, because you got a lot of points in Squighog boys that need somewhere to go. You've got 2 units of boys that don't have trucks that I've seen. No, they don't have trucks. So you got 2 units of boys just kind of holding each other's hands in your deployment zone, with 2 units of Squighog boys being your aggressive elements. Then you got 2 units of 2 scrap jets, which I'm assuming get shot up in a bit of a nugget with the Wartrike. Yeah, so the Wartrike gives them the speed Waaagh and they punch straight in. And then maybe they get followed up by the Squighog boys being like the second wave, or vice versa, that gets flipped on its head. But yeah, apart from that, it doesn't make a crazy amount of linear sense. I will say I do love Dakar jets. I love seeing 2 Dakar jets. I think that's boss mode. I'd love to see one of them in every list. But Gaz just seems real ham-fisted in this, doesn't he?
I would agree. Yeah, I don't know what his strategy is with Gaz in this one too. I mean, he's not trying to like get him across with a teleporter. I don't know if he's paying CP to put him in reserves. I'm not really sure what the game plan is. That's why when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really just trying to do it all. Also, I wanted to get an orc list out there, because I like orc lists, and I didn't see that we were covering manis, so that's also why I wanted to cover an orc list out there.
Well, the only reason we didn't cover the manis is because I can say the whole thing in one breath.
Yeah, no, so, I got it.
Yeah, exactly right. There's not that much to unpack.
I think it's interesting to see people experiment, and this guy is clearly experimenting, because this is a lot of stuff that like he most likely put together intentionally for this list. I don't feel like he went on a shelf and grabbed things. I feel exactly like he tried to make this list.
This is by design.
And I'm just curious what the approach is going to be. I wish I could watch one of his games. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to see how this goes about it. I was just saying if he's got a KFF. Doesn't look like he's got a KFF, which is what I thought he would have as well. I thought he'd have all the buggies clustered up around that, possibly even the Dakar jet starting in that KFF range. I thought that's why the big mech in Mega Army was there. Maybe he does come with a KFF, and I just don't know. But yeah, I do like that it's got all the elements. Yeah, it's got the aggressive elements, the defensive elements. It's got the stuff that sits back. It's got the MSU stuff. It's got the action monkeys. It's got a bit of oomph. I just don't get Gaz. I just don't understand Gaz. Maybe that's a bit beyond me. I don't understand where this is coming from. But yeah, cool list. And it's interesting that you can get a bit of everything in an orc list. Whether that's the best way to go, we'll have to wait and see. But that was enough for you to point it out, Alan.
Yep.
That's got a bit of everything. Dustin, you got any takes?
I think he just owns Gaz and loves the model and wants to bring him on the table. I think that's all that is, because he doesn't seem to fit in there, but he's a cool model. So if you want to play with your new toy, may as well put him in a list with when you're trying everything else out. Try Gaz at the same time, right? That makes sense to me.
You are not incorrect.
We just saw the Avatar of Cain in a brigade for Eldari. Why not bring Gaz in this list? I think it's perfect to actually talk about this list after what we just talked about. That's what I think.
Well, comparing the mighty Justin Reed to anybody else is just incorrect. Like you just don't do it, man. You're just like, Justin Reed sits apart.
Nah, man, you still gotta have cojones to bring Gaz. I think Gaz kind of maybe not it's no Eldari Brigade, but Gaz is still pretty up there on the cojones scale.
Guys, we reviewed a list with 4 greater demons. So
that's true. We did do that too.
So
we're ignoring the demon thing right now too.
Well, it just got overshadowed by Craftworld Brigade a little bit. Because the 4 demons actually seem reasonable next to that list. You're like, this actually makes sense compared to 3 swooping hawks and striking scorpions and stuff.
When he goes 3 and 2 with that Eldar list, I'm gonna make you wear a funny hat next week.
I will dead set wear whatever hat you want, brother. If he 3s and 2s,
it's gonna be made of those curtains back there.
Deserves it. Yeah. I think we're going to line up our Fugo from here, and we'll start getting into some of our spicy questions. Now, anybody who has Fugo topics that they'd like to see added for next week, chuck them up in the chat. We'll see if we can curate them, chuck them up. Reasonable ones. This is the Frontline Gaming Network. We have to be PG, even though we are all filthy sailors here.
Believe me, how it's really hard to stay PG.
It's really hard.
Do
you know how much? So I think I went for about 3 months with doing Forge Narrative before I stopped swearing. I dropped an F or a C or an S every single episode for 3 months, and then Paul's read it out of me. First question. We'll start off with PJ. We ready to go? Ready to go, Richard? Yep. All right. Clock is on. PJ, how many armies is too many armies to own?
None. You can own infinite armies. There's no such thing as too many armies.
Okay, I thought you'd say something quirky like as many as your wife would allow, but fair enough.
That's what I was going to say, damn it. You ruined my answer.
Sorry.
I feel like there's no real limit, maybe to be more reasonable to what you can afford, because that's not a cheap hobby. To what, actually, no, I know what it is. As long as you can keep up with the painting. That's what it is.
No, yeah, that's ridiculous. Go home.
Right. As long as you can keep up with the painting guy. You can get a new army once your old one is done painted.
That's nonsense.
I'm just not in the hobby anymore then.
Just have one army. That's fine. One army painted up.
For me, I actually find that once I've not played an army for 6 months, I feel like selling it. I feel like moving on from it and using that money to roll over into another one. Does anybody else relate to that?
No, I've instantly regretted everything I've ever sold in 40K.
That's fair.
Do you see the glass cases behind me?
I do.
There's so many old models in there from so long ago. I have never, ever sold an army, and I probably never will. So, I mean, I've collected them over... Oh, God knows how many years now.
We're going to see your basement on one of those, what's those, the Hoarders episodes? Not the Hoarders, no, the ones where they people buy and sell each other's storage units for deceased parties.
Storage Wars?
Dustin passes away and these backyards on an episode of Storage Wars.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm being buried with this stuff, man. You're not going to be able to find this.
We're going to melt down all the plastic to make your coffin. All right, we are going to move on to the next one. I'll tee it up. Would you rather live as a Tau in the 41st millennium or as a human in the 41st millennium? I left this as vague as possible. Dustin.
What? What? Rather a Tau or human in 40? Well, I know the humans have it pretty bad, but also the Tau. You know what? I would want to live as a Tau just because I've already done a human. I want to do something different.
There you go. You'd rather be some kind of weird fish cow guild.
I already look a lot like them. Let's be honest. I already have the head face for it, so I think I'm already halfway there. I feel like I'd fit in really well.
Nice. PJ.
I would definitely go with human. I don't like the Tau.
I just don't like it.
Dirty scum.
I probably go with human just because I don't like Tau. But it is a weird question. So Tau only have a life expectancy of about 40 years, apparently. Unless they've changed that or retconned that.
I'm pretty sure humans in the 41st millennium don't live 40 years.
They say that it's a bad thing in the fluff, but when you think about the life expectancy or how long you go with it before you turn into a servitor as a human, you're like, it ain't that much better, guys. It ain't that much better. And humans have the offset of knowing that you go into the warp when you die, and you're like, maybe not.
It's not a good life. That's not a good life.
It's not a great time. So we'll move on to our next one. This is If you had to take on any hobby, if you had the time to take on any hobby project in the entire lexicon of hobby projects, what would it be? PJ.
I'd build a giant drop pod and then put like a computer desk inside of it and like put it in my backyard. Be awesome.
That is, you put some thought into this. That is incredibly
I
specific.
literally just answered that on the spot.
That's amazing. All right. The talent. Dustin, what are your thoughts?
I would turn my entire backyard deck into one giant apocalypse table.
Ooh. What would you fill it with though? Like, how many, like when you think of that battlefield, how many Warlord Titans are on it? How many Reavers and
My deck is pretty big, so but I want to make it intricate. So I want to have like some ways you can go in and around it, and I want some like hills and stuff. So it's got to look really intricate. It can't just be what it is right now, right?
Basement, man. You can't put it in a deck. It's gonna rain and snow.
No, it's covered, man. It's covered. This whole thing is covered. You got and they got a hot tub on the other side there too. Whenever you need to take a break from the apocalypse game, this is all in my head. It might actually happen someday. You never know.
Okay.
That's intense. For me, I would want to do like a Warhammer World scale diorama. You can see those incredible mind-bending dioramas they do, like of Isfahan and all that stuff. I'd want to do something like that. Maybe I'd do the full Acadia, just because you get to use so many different armies. You get to have like Creed there, Celestines there, Abaddon's there, some Black Templars there, some Dark Angels are there. So many of my armies are represented, so maybe I'd do that. And like have pieces of like Blackstone Fortress on wire falling from the ceiling, smashing into everybody. Yeah.
See, I love those dioramas. I don't like something that I just stare at. I want it practical. I want to be able to use it. So I'd love to have one of those things, but then I'd look at it like, cool, that's cool. All right,
yeah,
go do something else now.
That's fair. All right. Next one, Fugo. Timer has hit. All right, I'll start with PJ for this one. Is 9th edition a shooty or combat edition?
Neither.
Extrapolate.
Yeah, it doesn't really require either of those things. It's more about movement. It's more of a movement edition than any edition prior. It's also more of a list building secondary planning edition. You have to have a plan to maximize secondaries when you're list built. So you need action monkeys. So you gotta figure that out before you even get to the table. You have to have a strategy for blocking mid board prior to the game, or advancing up somehow, or null deploying in some way. Those are all really important. So I think it's a mixture of army lists consideration for secondaries, movement, and pregame movement. And I think those are the main aspects of 9th right now.
Fair. Dustin, what do you think?
Yep. He expanded on the way I would too. Is it shooty or combat edition? Yeah. But it's also MSU. It's also secondary. It's all list building. Like you said, you need to be planning your list for secondaries. You need to planning your list to how to play the mission itself. Like looking at just shooty or combat. If you're just looking at the guns and swords you're taking into the game, you're gonna have trouble winning a lot of them.
I'm gonna go one step further than both of you guys. I'm gonna say it's a terrain edition.
Oh, that's a cop out.
That's the only damn thing anyone seems to be focused on. What do the tables look like? What are the tables going to be? What's how many rules am I going to get?
That's every edition.
That's true. It is every edition. Terrain is in every edition.
I didn't feel like 6th and 7th it wasn't as much.
You didn't go to Adepticon.
Well, you're right. I didn't. So +1 for PJ because I didn't. But yeah, I think when we look back, this will be like this is the one where everyone argued about terrain ad nauseum, and yeah, no one could agree. All right, Fugo, we're on to our next. How do you explain 40k to someone when it comes up in the real world? We'll start with Dustin.
I actually get this question a lot because my mom loves telling people about what I play for some reason. She's really excited about it. So I've had to field this question a lot, and it is chess, but I get to pick my pieces, and it's just on a larger table.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Do they ever follow up with a question then? And how do you answer that?
Almost never. They just kind of nod and accept it. Because it's convoluted enough that they won't ask follow-ups, but it's descriptive enough. They're like, okay, I think I understand what it is you're kind of playing.
Fair. Okay, I actually don't mind that one. Chess, but you get to pick your pieces. I do. I've described it as chess, but with like on a battlefield with stuff. Never mind.
See, that
with
was
dice.
getting more complicated.
It was rough already. DJ, what's your answer?
I just say it's like a nerdy game with little toys. That's usually what I go with.
I love. Fair enough. You just cop out straight away.
That immediately makes them not want to ask more questions.
Diffuse. But why?
I used to go with chess and Risk. I used to be like, it's like chess and Risk mixed, and then people would go, "What's Risk?" And then they're like, "Oh, God,
I had that problem too.
I'm done. I'm never saying this again." So now I just say nerdy stuff with dolls.
Why do you dodge the question when you could be talking to somebody who wants to play the game, or a new player?
It's true. We could just do that too. I also, because a lot of people knew me when I grew up, I played GI Joes. I said it's GI Joes on a table.
See, I don't like
GI Joes with rules.
I don't like to be responsible for getting people addicted to a drug, so I just I move on with my life.
It gives me a lot of pleasure to get people addicted to this hobby.
That's fair. I think all your answers are amazing. I actually really like it's all good. All right, Joe, go over to our last one. Are Chaos bad? Yes. Moving on. Wrapping up the show. No.
Chaos are actually the good guys. That's what you're talking about, right? Because no one would ever ask the question of whether or not they're bad in the game, because I would literally table you in 2 seconds with them. But
yeah,
if they're the good guys or the bad guys, they're the good guys. Horus is a good guy. They're trying to destroy the Emperor, who is literally a tyrant who's trying to control the galaxy, tax everyone to hell, and make them think he's a god. He's a lame. He's a loser. Horus is actually the good guy. And the Chaos gods are like, hey, let us help you destroy this tyrant who is trying to build a chair that opens up our portals. We don't like that. We don't like to be bothered, right? We don't want people messing around with stuff. So they're just trying to help. They're just trying to like knock this guy out of their house, and they're trying to be like, hey, everyone live, fun and free. And the Emperor's ruin it all. So you're good. You're good guys.
Okay. All right, Dustin, are you able to follow that?
I can't. I'm trying to gather where he just came from.
Dustin.
Okay.
Horus is Luke Skywalker, and the Emperor is the Emperor. How is this difficult?
So I'm gonna say, if we're not looking at the microcosm of the Horus Heresy, are Chaos bad? I will say no. Because Chaos are just primordial forces. I love it. The more Chaos is described as not having an inert motivation, like they don't have a motivation to have a galaxy-spanning empire worshipping them. They don't really give a crap as long as their base desire, their base like box is being ticked. Is blood flowing? Khorne ticks the box. Yes, cool. I don't care. I don't care if I'm worshipped as like the god above all gods. Are there skulls for my skull throne? Tick. Yes, cool. I'm happy. Same as Slaanesh.
For Scarlett Johansson. Yes, you lost for Scarlett Johansson. Done.
Slaanesh is satisfied. That's right. And if you look at them as just as primordial forces, e.g. like wind and air and rain and stuff, they're not innately good. They're not innately bad. They're defined by the feelings that humanity and other races put out into the universe.
Boom,
e.g. We're the bad ones. We're the bad ones.
Now. Just drop it.
Bam.
Yeah. And why did Horus betray them, if you want to call it betrayal, which I don't? It's because he was abused. He had a neglecting father. Left him on a planet all by himself for millennia. All of his kids.
He got stabbed by a Bernie stick that made him see.
I read all the books.
Spirit quest. He went on a spirit quest.
I read all the books. The Emperor never paid child support or nothing.
No, nothing.
I missed that chapter. I definitely missed that chapter, man.
You guys are bum.
As Horus was up next to Judge Judy, Emperor didn't even come himself. He sent Malkador.
Look how he treated his own son Magnus. He tried to warn him. Just kind of, hey, I'm gonna just shoot some psychic at you, warn you. He banished him.
All right. We can lodge this as a discussion topic because I had an epiphany the other day as well about the 41st Millennium, but which will encompass a whole 30-minute segment, and I'm probably going to force it onto some other show that I'm on. But we're going to wrap up at this point. We have done enough. Hopefully, you guys go and tune in to the Goonhammer coverage if there is any, to the Waaagh coverage if there is any. If not, go into BCP, follow them, tell us how our boys did, the guys that we put lists up, and engage on social media, guys. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a rating. Please send in any and all feedback from Frontline Gaming to the Frontline Gaming Network. Tell us what we need to improve, what we can do better. Thank you so much, Dustin, for jumping in on short notice once again. You're an absolute legend. PJ, thank you for rocking out as always, my man. Anything you guys want to say before we tune out?
Always a pleasure. I love coming on here. So just put that bald signal up, and I'll be on whenever you need me.
I love it. It's a bald signal with a little gene stealer claw. And that's right. That's the Dustin Henshaw. PJ, you can't really give us the crazy eyes. So are you actually going to say good night this time?
I will say good night. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, that's boring.
Legendary. Good night, guys. Take care. See you next week.